Then turn it on the screen.
All right, we will call to order here at 3:05. Ms. Brown is going to be logging on shortly from work, so everyone else is present. I've got Ms. Schlimm, Ms. Hedges, Ms. Solkovitz, and Ms. Turner, members of Site Base. We are also joined by Cole Mosier, our Youth Service Center coordinator. And obviously Jason Reese, our technology person, is on the meeting to be able to broadcast it. So first thing we need to do is the agenda for today, which I have posted up on the screen. We just need to approve that first. So I need a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
By Tori.
I'll second.
And second by Solke. Any questions? Anything anybody needs to add or?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next document is our meeting minutes. I've got a bunch of things pulled up here, so give me 1 minute to find November's. It's here somewhere. Is there a way for me to scroll through which ones are there? Let me get back to that folder and I'll just pull it up again. I thought I pulled them all up before we got in here, so I apologize. That's because it's a PDF. That's why I couldn't get everything else is in Word. That's why. All right, there is our November minutes, the last time we met in a regular meeting. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review that. I just need anybody see anything?
I didn't see anything, Hedges.
Anybody else? I just need a motion
No.
for the November 19, 2020 minutes.
I'll make a motion, Hedges.
Edges, second.
I'll second.
Schlimm, any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. This one is, the next one is the December 16, 2020 for public input minutes. Pretty simple here, not much to them. But I just need a motion on those.
I'll make a motion.
Schlimm,
I'll second it.
Solke. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so this is the second December 16th meeting. This one was the one that immediately followed the public input, and this was for approval of our comprehensive school improvement plan. So I just need a motion to approve these minutes. Again, pretty simple.
I'll motion.
Solke,
Hedges can
Mhm.
second.
second by Hedges. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Get those off the board. Good news. Anybody have any good news they want to share? We've been in school for 2 weeks in person. We've made it through 2 weeks. Not too bad on subs. We had one day we were a half day sub short, but we've been taking care of that internally. So happy to see kids back. Hopefully we can stay this way. Anybody have anything else they want to share? I'm sure Kristen's happy the kids are back in school.
Very. I really think they should be AMD day.
I hope we can get there soon. I really do.
I
We'll
hope
see what
so.
happens. We'll see what happens. Hopefully these numbers start going the other way. And hopefully maybe the vaccine will start helping and we'll go from there. But I'm just happy to have kids in the building. I hope we stay at least this way for a while.
I have a feeling Dagan might not have the same opinion, Kristen.
Yeah.
I would agree, but he's an 8th grade boy. That could be much different context. Student counts. The student counts as of yesterday: 136 in 5th grade, 139 in 6th, 136 in 5th grade, 139 in 5th, 124 in 7th, and 138 in 8th. That's 537. I want to say that might have been up one from November. We did have, up one total from November. We were at 536. So again, maintaining that number. We did have a few move in, a few move out. So you can see the numbers there. Any questions or comments about that? All right. Hybrid instruction update. We're back to where we were in September, October, November. So far, so good. We did reading map testing this week, so we had a couple of days where we're on alternate schedules. We'll do that again next week. So far, seems so good. I'm sure we'll have plenty of makeups because our absent list is a little large because of quarantines, but just happy to get the kids back in the building to get some face-to-face teaching. Any questions there?
Nope.
No.
Targeted services still seems to be running well, trying to get back up and running with that. While we were on NTI, we were running 5 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday being our heaviest days. Tuesday, Thursday is a little low, but those are also days we offered 0 transportation. Monday and Wednesday, we offered transportation for some of our special education students and our RTI students. And then Fridays, we offer transportation for anyone that needs it. So we've been doing good there. Our big focus is a lot really just getting kids caught up from second quarter still a little bit. And we are working on that a little bit, but getting better. So tomorrow and next Friday, we will be doing some of the virtual students map tests. We've got some of them coming in to do it in person, some of it doing it virtually. And we've been through that before, so we know what to expect. We have Mr. Mosier, Cole Mosier, on the meeting today from the Youth Service Center. And I've invited him to our meetings. We've been asked to make sure that we include them on our meetings, just so they know what's going on. Plus, it's good for council to know what the Youth Service Center does and might be doing. So, Cole, you want to give us a quick overview?
Yeah, I'll kind of go over the stuff we've been doing the last couple months. The same stuff I present at my advisory council. So backpack meals, we're currently serving 23 students in the middle school. For Christmas during the Giving Tree, we helped out 135 students and families with their gifts for the Giving Tree during Christmas time. We handed out 32 Go Pantry boxes during the Christmas vacation. So those are basically big boxes with non-perishable items in them. They're valued at $50 a box, so it's over $1,600 worth of boxes are basically given out to these families that need them. During Thanksgiving, we gave away 27 red boxes. Those are from Seven Hills Church, and basically they have non-perishable items in them too, and they get a voucher for a turkey for families that need it and can't afford that during Thanksgiving, so they can have a Thanksgiving meal. Next, we assisted Lindsay Stevens in the Spirit of Giving shop. So basically, these students could come in and shop for the family members, whether it be their sister, brothers, grandparents, mom's boyfriend, dad's girlfriend, any of that stuff. And we had 32 students do that. We received a donation over Christmas break from Tim Price. He donated through his foundation $1,500 worth of clothing from Russell and Fruit of the Loom. So that was very generous of them to pick us this year for that. We assisted 35 students with clothing. So basically that can go from anywhere from dress code violations to a kid needing a sweater or jacket or anything along those lines. We assisted 6 students with hygiene items, whether that be deodorant, chapstick, toothpaste, any of that kind of stuff that kids need throughout the day or need over the weekend. And then we also got 3 more students signed up for United Way during the Christmas break with free internet access that United Way is doing for the whole year during COVID. So basically, we're up to, I believe, 36 families have gotten internet access from United Way. So they've been really key during COVID and getting these families internet that we have needed to get them to. So basically, that's all I got. All the other stuff is just minimal. So just that's it from me.
Thank you, Cole. Anybody have any questions, comments for Mr. Mosier? They're doing some awesome stuff down there. I appreciate everything
Thank
you
you
guys
for
do.
your work, Cole. Thank you for your work.
No problem. Happy to do it. Jackie is also with me down here. So she
Yeah,
also
Jackie
does-
Alford's his assistant.
Yeah.
They work great together. So appreciate everything
We
you guys
know behind every good man is a better woman.
Exactly. You got that right.
do. As the other man in the group, and Jason's over here with me, I'm not going to argue about that.
Smart move, Eric. Smart move.
Well, I don't know if Mrs. Moore-Wessel's watching or not. Doubt it. She's, but anyway. Thank you, Cole. Thanks, Jackie.
No problem.
Audience of citizens, we don't have anybody else on. Student achievement, I kind of told you about map testing. So this week we did reading Tuesday and Thursday with our in-person kids. We just ran a 2-hour delay schedule. So we ran the map testing in that 2-hour window. And then Friday, tomorrow, like I said, we're going to bring in our virtual kids, and then we'll work on makeups in the coming couple of weeks when kids get back in. We got a lot of kids quarantined right now from exposure, which is common right now. And then next week, Tuesday and Thursday, we would do the math map same way, in person, run a 2-hour delay schedule. And then next Friday, we'll do some virtual, and then we'll continue to work on makeup. So definitely by the next meeting, I'll have a report to share with Site-Based. Teachers will obviously have it before then. So any questions about map testing? Teachers, any comments?
It was
I
much
feel like-
better having them, most of them in person versus virtual. It definitely made it a lot
Yes.
easier.
Yes, it did.
And I think that we did a great job the first time we did it under the circumstances. But definitely much nicer doing it this way, and with being able to have everybody have their own device, kind of revolutionizes the way we get to do map testing anymore. So,
And I personally believe that we'll probably quiet room, in a environment.
yeah, and I'm really excited to see the scores. I know that math, I went to, I didn't go to, I watched a virtual webinar from NWEA, which is the company that owns MAP. And they showed the same thing that we saw from our fall data. Reading has pretty much held its own. Reading is one of those things, I don't want to call it just like riding a bike, you kind of never forget, but it's not like you lose in such a rapid time with reading. But math requires so much repetition and building blocks that you would expect there to be a loss. But our fall map scores didn't show significant across the board other than normal summer loss. I know they did at the elementary with the younger kids, and that's expected. I'll be interested to see where we've come under these circumstances here in the winter, and we'll just use it as a guide to move forward. But winter can sometimes be a mixed bag under normal circumstances. So we'll take a look at it and we'll go comb through it. But I do think it's much better to do it this way, because now instead of going through 3 different days of instruction, and Ms. Schlimm as a reading teacher can attest to it, you kind of lose 3 days of instruction. Even with hybrid, we're only committing 2 days, but she still gets to see her reading class on those 2 days. We're just adjusting our whole schedule now that every kid has a device. I didn't hear of any connection issues. We were worried about, do we have enough bandwidth to do it? And we felt that we did, but it didn't seem like we had any problems whatsoever.
I think in 5th grade, we had one kid whose test spun for a minute, and we just logged him out, logged him right back in, and he was fine.
And that's a pretty normal occurrence with NWEA anyway.
Yeah, normally it's 10, 15 kids have that going on. So it was actually
Oh, yeah.
better.
So yeah, that's off to a good start. Just like I showed you, this was part of my board report. I can't remember if I showed this to you in November or not for the first quarter, but this is second quarter failure rates. Failure rates are higher than normal.
You did show
Normally-
us.
Huh?
You did show us in the fall.
Okay. For the most part, we're heading in the right direction in the lower grades. 8th grade's always a struggle. This Miss Solkovitz and I talked about this yesterday. Most of this is a result of NTI, because we are finding that the kids, when they're not here, they're not doing their work. We're having great success with 5th and 6th grade and a little bit in 7th grade of getting kids caught up through targeted services. We are not having the same success in 8th grade simply because we can't always get the kids here. So, you know, I definitely don't want it to be a reflection that the teachers aren't doing everything they can. You know, I'm obviously pushing the teachers to do everything they can to get these kids with their grades up to passing, but I don't want this to look like a reflection on just the teachers. I mean, we've got students that are struggling to get work in. We've got working parents that are struggling with what to do. The best thing we can get parents to do is get our kids in here on Fridays, and we're going to continue to try to attack that from the second quarter. The biggest thing is just we're trying to get kids up to passing so that their grades come, that one particular quarter of struggle doesn't impact their whole year. So I've kind of got them broken down by A group, B group, virtual. And we've done a great job with virtual. Simply, part of that is because we've gotten a lot of our virtual kids to come in. So some of those numbers have come off virtual and maybe gotten added into our in-person. But overall, we're down pretty well in making progress in the right direction. So while these numbers are still way higher than they should be, we're doing everything we can through our targeted services. So I applaud the teachers, I applaud the kids and the parents that are getting in here. Those that aren't, we're going to continue to work on getting them in here to get them caught up. So this will be the same chart I share with my board report next Thursday. And one of the things we've done is we've had a study skills class that Amy Clancy has been running. And we've got a lot of kids that have been in that class to get caught up that have moved out. And we're going to start doing a little bit more data collection on this so that that can also be included. Like, you know, we had these 10 8th grade kids in and 7 of them have moved out and are now to passing, something like that. So we know, because that is one of the things that has been successful. You know, when her numbers are low, that's a good thing. But that's one of the ways we're trying to attack it, through a tier 2 service for our students that are struggling. We've got some obstacles there. We've got some kids that are in our RTI reading and math programs that we can't pull out of to put into Miss Clancy's class. So we're just going to work on continuing to attack them and getting their grades caught up through our Friday targeted services. So, and just for perspective, I did do this, what we were last year, second quarter. And again, you can see we've always had the numbers go up every year the kids get older. But you can see where we are normal times. This is full instruction and where we are now. I mean, they're up, you know, some cases doubled. So we'll continue to share that. I'm going to be sharing with the team leaders their failure reports here. I'm working on the semester report, and I'll have those in their mailboxes tomorrow, just so that, because they're going to work through it through their team meetings and working on getting kids in here on Fridays. So any questions or comments? All right, annual policy review. We get to finish our policy reviews this evening. So we're going to start with 1201. 1201 is our procedure for the selection of school personnel. This particular policy is up to date. Again, I don't hire people, I don't fire people. That is the superintendent's job. My job as a principal is to make a recommendation. And what we do is, once we have a position, we ask Dr. Baker to post that. They post it. And then those of you that have been on site-based counsel know I use site-based counsel as my screen. You know, there's always a site-based teacher, always a site-based parent, and then try to get somebody from the team or content area. And sometimes the team leader could do both of those. And we form a hiring committee for that particular position. We screen all the applications, we schedule interviews, we set criteria, we write questions. So that's what this policy says, is we use that ad hoc SBDM. And then when that committee makes a decision, we don't have to hold a meeting before we make the hire. That ad hoc committee is made up of site-based members that we agree if that committee agrees to hire this or make the recommendation to hire this person, we don't have to hold a special meeting. We are just informed of that at our next regular meeting. That's what this policy says, and that's how we have operated. Any questions, concerns, or issues with how this policy is?
Done for me.
Because I don't have any recommendations for changing this particular policy. All right, moving on. That's going to be 1202. And that's going to be a principal vacancy. And this is the procedure, and this is from KASC, the law, and what our bylaws say to select a new principal. Because when we're selecting all other positions in the school, since I'm the chairperson of SBDM, it's my job to set that ad hoc committee following our site-based council policy. Well, if the principal is the position we're looking for, this policy outlines what needs to be done, and then it's also supported in bylaws and district policy, and they all jive together with what the law states. Basically, the superintendent or designee will get you all together and go through the process. There's a training process that has to be done from KASC. Again, recommending no changes there because this was updated a couple years ago. They have all the language that's required, that follows what's required in the policy for our site base, also follows district and state requirements. Questions, comments? I do not have any plans of you having to go through this anytime soon. Uh, 1301, annual review of state and local data. Again, this policy just meets the requirements for state law and site-based council law. We obviously review our local data 3 times a year right now because we get it through MAP, and then we haven't had any state data last year, so we weren't able to do that, and that was obviously done through the state. So again, no recommended changes here, just a review. Questions, comments? All right, 14.1. Student welfare and wellness policy. We have a couple parts here at the middle school. Middle school requirements for 6, 7, and 8 are all met through the nutrition guidelines. There has to be some addendums because we have grade 5. And this physical activity part C incorporates all that's required for grade 5 because it is an elementary grade. Through PE, through spin time, which is our recess time, through mask break time and movements in class and around the building, we meet this policy, but we have to have this physical activity part in policy because we house grade 5. But this is all up to date. Again, no recommended changes. Questions, comments?
Looks good to me.
All right, 1402, one of my favorites, pediculosis management. Does anybody know what pediculosis management is?
I think your feet hurt.
It has to do with, I believe, bed bugs and lice.
Oh, PEDI, petty. That's, you know, I was thinking feet.
Petty, yeah. That's what this has to do with. We have to have a policy on it. Treatment plans for lice and bed bugs and things like that. So this is a required policy. You can see that it's very simple. Nurse Mizuka is our person that gets to make judgments. If she says that there has to be a treatment plan, there has to be a treatment plan. But the name came up differently a few years ago, and at the time, I think Stephanie Greener was a parent member, and she just thought it was just a funny word. So, but again, no recommendations for any changes here. This is up to date with site-based law and policy. Questions, comments? Is kind of a fun word, pediculosis, but our parent and family engagement policy. This is another one of those required policies. And, you know, obviously some of the procedures have been difficult to manage during COVID. But under normal circumstances, we do abide by this policy with things like our open house, our PTA, things that Cole Mosier does for parents. That's all engulfed or encapsulated in this policy. And obviously COVID has given us some struggles with doing everything that we normally do, but we're making the best of it. So again, no changes recommended here, just a review.
One quick thing on that, Eric, I'm just noticing that it says the school's PTA. Ours is actually a PTSA. Does that matter?
I'll check because they can go between PTA, PTSA.
Okay. I didn't know if those were interchangeable terms.
Yeah.
But we do encourage our students to get involved in that too.
Because they can go from PTAs, PTSAs, PTOs. We should just say schools parent organization. But,
parent organization. Okay.
I don't think there should be a big hang up over that, but I will ask Mr. Hartman if that's a huge deal. If it is, we'll put it on the next one for a revision, and we'll just revise that part of it. And instead of calling it PTA, it'll probably be like schools parent organization. That way, whether they call it a PTA or a PTSA.
Or a PTO, or like you said. Yeah. Okay.
And as long as I'm here, I will always encourage a PTSA because students is part of that. But, you know, the less specific we are about that particular word, but if Rob Hartman finds out from KASC that shouldn't be a big hang up, then we won't need to go through the 2 readings, but I don't mind doing it. It only takes 30 seconds each meeting.
Sure.
So I'm just going to make a note here.
Will you scroll on down just a little bit for me, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have an annual meeting?
Parent-teacher conferences, but we haven't had them this year because of COVID.
Gotcha.
Questions, comments, everybody good? All right, I think we're close here. 1601 committees. We have to have a committee policy. Some of you that have been around, seasoned a little bit more than others, probably remember the times when you always had to sign up for a committee. There are all these different committees that sometimes wouldn't always be necessary to meet. Some would have to meet more than others. And you know, people would run up to sign up for the easiest committee or the whatever it may be. The committee structure doesn't necessarily always work that way. And to me, we've been able to work through, I've established the leadership team, which is our team leaders. Also our school counselor, we have a couple content specialists and a special ed teacher. That way all smaller groups of teachers by grade level or content are represented on this leadership team. Any big decisions that committees would make in the past come through this leadership team and then filter down through each group that they represent. And to this point, it seems to work as long as all teachers understand that that is a way that we develop professional development plans, different things like that, that's the process. So this policy makes it a little bit easier because that way we can always work through that leadership team. And that's what it says there in section B. We can also ask for ad hoc committees as needed or recommended by the school leadership team. Maybe we don't need all those people to decide one thing. Maybe we want 2 or 3 people to do it. And then we can set up an ad hoc committee. Like when we set up an ad hoc committee to hire, that would fall in this committee section that we don't have to say that we have to create this new committee. We just know how it works. So this site-based can always ask for an ad hoc committee. And this policy, when I revised it, took into account the leadership team as kind of that standing committee for bigger things, and then we can go ad hoc there. Does that make sense? because this policy could be hugely complicated, and there's no reason to make it complicated. The more complicated it is, the more hoops you jump through to try to make even the simplest of decisions. But you want to make sure that stakeholders feel like they're included. Questions, comments? All right, that's all the reviews. We do have a couple things to get some action on. The first one is 9.01, extracurriculars. And we had talked, and what's highlighted in yellow there is the changes we wanted to make, because this had originally said, because we had 8 classes, they'd have 5 core classes and 3 encores when we were on an ABC schedule. Of course, this year we're not even on an AB schedule. We were going to move to an AB schedule, which would give kids no more than 7 classes at a time. So we had talked about this 80%, and this goes along with what KHSAA and the high school are doing. So like this year, for instance, 5 out of 6 classes would be 80%. It's higher than 80%, I believe. If we're able to go back to a normal schedule starting next school year, and we're able to do that AB per semester, then it would be 6 out of 7. So that's the change to the verbiage there that we would need 2 readings for. And then this other yellow part there, I put a little asterisk there to say that the schedule type for 2021 school year only has 6 total classes at any one time due to COVID-19. If we are able to return to an expected schedule type for 2021-2022, then students will have 7 total classes at any one time. Of course, if we aren't, then we just revert back to where it says 5 out of 6. The big thing is at least 80%. 4 out of 6 and 5 out of 7 doesn't give us 80%. So that was kind of what we had talked about. Was there anything I missed there, that anything we talked about with that policy? Anybody have any problems with that change in verbiage for a first read? We can always change it and go to the second read, but this seems the simplest verbiage for it. Everybody good with that?
Yep. Yep.
I need a motion to approve the first reading.
I'll make a motion.
Schlimm,
Yes.
second?
Sulky will second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will have a second reading then in March. And unless there's any verbiage changes, this will be the one that'll go up to the second read. The other one is 1103. We had talked about possibly eliminating. I don't think we want to eliminate it because we do have a bring your own device policy here. However, being 1-to-1 now that every student has their own device, we'll go through this rather quickly and see if we have any suggestions. But at the end of this first paragraph, anything in red is being eliminated, anything in blue is being added. So I eliminated the part where it says the Walton Verona Middle School also recognizes that it does not have the resources to provide these technologies to every student. Well, that's not true anymore, so we're going to eliminate that line. In the beginning of the second paragraph where it says, in an effort to bring more technology tools into the classrooms and to leverage student-owned technology, there's no reason to have that anymore because I just changed it. I swapped that out for what's in blue, that Walton Verona Middle School does currently provide every enrolled student with their own device for all classes. Even with this in place, the school will, and then just carry out the rest of the sentence. Does that make sense to everybody to do that?
Yeah.
My English teachers, is there any verbiage changes or grammar changes that I should make?
I mean, it sounded good.
Yeah, sounds good.
And the next paragraph where it says Walton Verona Middle School currently provides technology that is appropriate and relevant. We don't need to have that in there because we were talking about the technology we do have is appropriate, but we didn't have it for every kid. And it talks about we're not going to penalize somebody if you're doing something that requires technology and the kid doesn't have it. Well, they have it now. So that paragraph is a moot pretty much at that point. Everybody agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then under the definition of personal technology devices, and this might be where I asked Mr. Reese after the meeting if any of these examples could be taken out, but I know we still have laptops. I know there's still technically readers, iPads, iPods. I mean, I guess every once in a while we get an iPod coming around. Tablet device, PDAs. I don't even think, are PDAs even a thing anymore? or other current. So are we okay just to eliminate PDAs then? Let's do that.
Yeah, I don't think those.
I mean,
are-
I feel like you could also eliminate an iPod.
Well, Jason just held one up. So I think there's some still out there. But I think that or other current emerging device that could be used, word processing, wireless, wired, I mean, that's all fine. But through our readings, we'll go ahead and eliminate PDA.
So on this, it doesn't say anything about phones.
Well, that's what this next part is.
Oh, so we're
If
not,
you look at the
okay, sorry, I
bolded
didn't read
part-
on. I didn't read on.
If you look at the bolded part, I crossed out part of it, but it used to say cell or smartphones are not acceptable personal technology devices at Walton Road Middle School. Okay, quite honestly, they are. But we have a school rule about cell phones. So I worked on this with Mr. Reidner, so the wording was right. But if you see, I'm going to eliminate the part where it says are not acceptable. I guess I should have put that in red. Sorry. So we're going to eliminate that part, but it'll now read cell phones or smartphones can be used in class for educational purposes, but only with the permission of the teacher in charge. And again, educational purposes is there. It then says all other issues with cell phones, I guess I should put smart, are outlined in the code of conduct and are otherwise not permitted to be on a student's person. That way we still have our rule. I'm perfectly fine if you're running a Kahoot and it's easier to do with a cell phone than the Chromebook, but pretty much with the Chromebooks, we probably eliminated most of that. But as long as they have permission, it's an educational purposes. I don't want to eliminate cell phones because they are a technology that kids use. The problem is with middle schoolers, they don't always use it for the right reasons at the right times. I'm not saying high schoolers don't either, but they all know that they can have them out at high school. We leave that as a high school rule. And outside of that, it's got to be a code of conduct committee coming back to us saying that they recommend the change.
I don't have one, but can't you do text messaging from like an Apple Watch?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think some kind of statement or inclusion with other Apple devices, like the Apple Watch or
Smart watches, I guess.
smartwatches? Yeah.
I mean, that's something to bring up because it is a ever-growing problem that kids are trying to sneak in text from their watch because then they don't have to have their phone on the person.
And I know that when we do the state testing, we make them take their Apple Watches off, if I'm not mistaken, and put them in their locker while they're doing at least the state test.
Yes.
I think it's a good point.
Their phone could be in their backpack, but their watch is still able to, that's on their arm and out and about can receive text messaging.
Well, and even some of the watches, you don't even have to have the cell phone anymore. It'll just,
Oh, okay.
you can use your cellular data plan. So.
Oh, to your phone.
The one I
Okay. Or
have
to
is
your
Yeah.
a Wi-Fi one, but if you get one on a cell plan, you don't even need the phone. It's just connected to your.
Oh, okay.
So
See,
I
I don't make the big bucks, so I don't have one
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah, I don't have one that works off of work. My phone has to be close, but I do love it because I don't have to pull my
Yep.
phone out to see what's going on. So here's what I added. If you're looking right here in blue, this can include smartwatches. And then here, cell, smartphones, smartwatches can be used for education. All other issues with cell or smartphones, smartwatches are, because I know we have something in there where it's a catch-all. And you're right, we do have that thing in there about the smartwatches for state testing. So I do think it needs to be included in here. Is everybody good with that being included that way?
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions before we go through a first read? Is everybody good with those changes? I think it kind of updates the policy. And the other two, the 1101 and the 1102, really get into the meat of the technology policies that jive with district policy. This is just our schools bring your own device. We don't have to have a bring your own device, but we always have since I've been here, and I don't have a problem with one. The issue we have sometimes is with the cell phones, and that's outlined in our code of conduct. So then I just need a motion for the first read.
I'll make a motion. Hedges.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Lori,
Clem. Yes.
comments, questions? All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? All right. Financial report. Let's get that up here. In good shape with money. If you remember, there was, I asked Kevin about this musical supplies, $79.50. Amber, do you remember what that was? Was that some
No,
of the?
you asked me about that and I had no idea what that was.
He sent me these end of December reports. These are end of December. And I knew it was still going to be on here. I asked him to switch that. And if he had to, just put it over to general or other. I just
Okay.
don't, because we don't have a budget line for this. If we need to revise the budget, we'll just revise the budget. So this doesn't show a balance of negative 79.80 here.
Okay.
In the end, it's this number that we don't want to be in the red. We've still got 48% of our budget left and we're in January and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So-
I don't recall requesting anything, but that came out of SBDM money. So
Could
I'm
it have
not
been
sure.
those instrument covers? Would they have been that ballpark of price?
No, the instrument covers were covered by the board because they were under COVID.
Yeah, I'm meeting with him Tuesday about something else. So I sent him an email about it and I know he'll get to it, but I'll try to remember to bring that up. But I just never like when a budget line out here is in the red.
Right. And if something needs to come out of my music fund, there's money in the music fund. Like if it just got labeled the wrong thing.
Yeah, and that could be, and again, we've got
That's no problem.
$39,600 left in the budget that we got to spend by the end of the fiscal year. So,
Well, I can buy a tuba with that. So
yeah, I mean, I have no problems with spending money. You know, right now we're still on deck for, I believe, about 25 additional Chromebooks. But at our last admin meeting, Jason Reese wasn't even sure how far they were out. So I'm not worried about that. Those were just ordered to have some extras here in the building for the middle school. I don't plan on ordering any more at the moment until I find out what's going to happen with this next round of CARES Act money, if we're going to do any devices there. But if we feel we need some extra devices in here just to have extras, we will. But when it comes down to it at the March meeting, if we've still got that much money, we'll start to make a plan because I'll start to ask for wish lists from teachers. Say that 5 times fast.
I think a trip to a beach somewhere for the site-based council would be appropriate.
Well, if you look here, PD, I mean, we got plenty of PD money, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to get us where you want to go. We've got $5,201. I'm sure individually we could get somewhere, but might be frowned upon in other places, but I'd be all for it. Maybe we, you know, if we could get the whole school there for a day, but that's a different story. But
We got some tiny people. They could fit in the luggage.
we
Tori?
do have some little ones. We do
I
have,
don't know if I can fit in the luggage. I'll try. whatever gets me to the beach. I'm up for it.
I'm not getting in a suitcase.
I was like, I'm out on the
Second breeze.
suitcase, man.
I was impressed with your flexibility yesterday, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hitting the elliptical for a while. I was down 13 pounds at weigh-in last week, and that wasn't from Biggest Loser. I was only, you know, I'm probably only going to be down 3-4 pounds. But January 1st, I weighed myself, and last week when I weighed in, I was down 13 pounds.
Good for you.
So I've been hammering it on the elliptical. I've really been working on my diet and eliminating some stuff. But I tell you what, that Michael's lady yesterday, that video made me do some things I hadn't done before. I mean, there are things I need to do, don't get me wrong, but I'm for today. I was working the massage gun last night when I got home. Those
Yeah.
things are, if you don't have one, get one. They're worth $80-$90. So any questions about the budget? Everything else is in really good shape. Amber, I know that Amy Berger had asked me for the Encore people if they had money, and I responded to her, but they do have $1,000 for Encore. And obviously for anything music, if we want to look, if you want to get a wish list, you know, I don't expect to spend a ton of money between now and the end of the year, other than just some little things. So we'll have a significant amount. If you want to look at one of those big ticket items, I can't promise anything, but I definitely ask for wish lists.
Okay, I will do it.
All right, we do not have to enter executive session for anything. So We are up to adjournment. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Turner
Hedges?
will second.
Turner's gonna second. She's ready to go. All in favor?
Bubba
Aye.
Aye.
3:50 PM. So Kristen, thanks for hanging with us there.
Hey,
Everyone,
no
thanks for your
worries.
time.
No worries.
Hopefully in March we can be in person, but I'm going to be safe over sorry. But I'm hoping by March, in 2 months, we'll be in a different situation. And I
You
will
still owe us a
bring in
lunch.
food.